Close. It's about that time. A couple of admin things. Those of you that have filled out those cards that we were asking about, please pass them to the aisles. We'll be down to pick them up right now. If you do that for me, if you've got them filled out. You see our volunteers coming down, so if you'd pass them to the aisles, it'd be great. Let's go ahead and do that. Nobody's filled out any cards, huh? All right, I'm a college professor. Nobody leaves until those cards are filled out. I have the power of the pencil. It's an amazing thing when a 20-year-old student realizes that you, in fact, do have that power. They get off their cell phones, they put away their computers, they put away their tablets, and they finally start to listen to the short, round little man in the front of the room. And you know what? They might learn something along the way. I want to tell you a story. This happened to me just yesterday, and it's an important story. The story comes from the fact that I'm sitting at the Pfister Hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, one of the most famous hotels in all of the country. It's a beautiful old place and been restored, and every president of the United States has stayed there at one point or another since Teddy Roosevelt. The thing that's fascinating about it was I was looking for transportation out to the airport. It's about a 20 or 30-minute ride out there. And I asked the concierge to give me a taxi, and of course it was waiting on me when I went outside. And there was a middle-aged gentleman, and we had struck up a conversation, and he says, "You're with Mr. Trump." And I said, "Yes, I am. I'm very proud of that." And he says, and I asked him, I said, "Where are you from?" And he said, "Well, I'm from India. I worked for Sperry Rand Corporation in India. I was a plant manager. I had a very important position over there. I'm a well-educated individual. I had the opportunity to do well, and I did well enough that I applied to come to the United States as a legal immigrant. I came to the United States, and I settled in Milwaukee because General Electric had a plant here. And I came here, and I worked in General Electric doing supervisor and high-tech work, working on that factory, and I worked there, and I thought everything was going to be great, and I was going to live the American dream. And then NAFTA came along, and GE moved that plant to Mexico and took my job with it. So now I have to be in, and I spent all this time, I couldn't leave, and I drive a taxi to make ends meet. This is the American dream that I've inherited. And I said, "What do you think about the presidential candidates?" And he said, "Oh, a lot of them are nice people. They're good people. But there's only one person that speaks to me, because he understands what I went through. He understands me. He's worth $10 billion, and he can relate to me, a man from India, a legal immigrant, a person who came here with all the promise in the world and watched our bad trade agreements ship my job to another country. I want that man to be my president." I thought about that, and I said, you know, back a few months ago, a lot of us we were looking at this position. I had the opportunity to work for a lot of different campaigns. And then I was approached by this campaign, and I was asked to come to work and to do this job that I'm doing. And I am very, very proud to be part of this organization. Because I looked around and I said, we've been trying the same stuff for 30 years, and nothing's changed. Many of us went out and sacrificed and worked our tails to the bone to win the House in 2010. Many of you know my race here, running for an open seat in the United States Senate in the state of Iowa. We're very fortunate. We went out there and we got Joni elected, and we won control of the Senate. But nothing much has changed. I got to make sure that I'm not ad-libbing too much here, so making sure that we're all ready to go. So we're all set here. So I'm here, so I'm going to tell you the rest of my story. I'm old enough to remember Ronald Reagan. Yeah. And Ronald Reagan sacrificed a lot, and he allowed, and he came out and supported Barry Goldwater. Not very many people did. And in October of 1964, he gave a speech. And the title of that speech was "A Time for Choosing." And he said, "It's time for us in America to choose. It's time for us to make a choice. And we have to make that choice, and we have to make it now." I've taken Ronald Reagan's words to heart, and I've made a choice. And the choice I've made is to support the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Whoa, this is great. This is great. Sit down. We'll have a little fun today. You know what I thought? I went out to see some of the folks on the ethanol. And good stuff and great people. Put a lot of people to work out here, too, I want to tell you. I just want to tell you that. They put a lot of people to work, and they're doing an amazing job. You know, the gloves are a little bit off. You know, we're down to like 81, 82 days till that big day on February 1st, right? February 1st. We know what that is. And people now are getting a little bit rambunctious, and that's a good thing. That's okay. And the, various candidates are starting to say things, some of which are true and many things are not true. And I guess I can be accused of that. But we will talk about the different candidates, some of the different candidates. I thought today we'd take some questions and answers, okay? So come up with some really good questions to make it interesting for everybody. And I love being here. I just love it. I love the place. I love the state. It's an amazing group of people, really amazing state. So I just, I've been here a lot. We're going to be here a lot. The last poll just came out, as you saw. We're leading, and hopefully we're going to lead by even more as we go by, but we're leading pretty good. So I came across a couple of things. I tweeted this out a while ago. And, we're talking about borders nowadays, right? Does anybody care about borders? You know what? Right? Without borders, we don't have a country. What is it? We don't have borders. They say, oh, you can't do that. You can't move people around. You can't do that. That's not nice. But we got to straighten out our country. It's like unbelievable. But here's something. I tweeted this a while ago, and it still holds true. If you cross the North Korean border, and if you do it illegally, you get 12 years hard labor. 12 years. I think you get more than that. Actually, I think they kill you, but we'll get to that because you have some where they actually do kill you. If you cross the Afghanistan border illegally, you get shot. Okay, so one you get 12 years, one you get shot, right? 2 Americans were imprisoned for 8 years after crossing the Iranian border. Now, you see that with our 4 hostages who we can't get out, even though we gave these guys $150 billion. We have great negotiators. By the way, I guarantee you I would have had them out. And I don't mean lately. We never even asked for them out because they didn't want to complicate the negotiations. Did you know that? They never asked. They said, we didn't want to complicate, so they didn't ask. We have 4 hostages over there. So in Iran, if you cross, you get 8 years. Well, these guys are in there. Certainly the minister, the pastor, Christian, he's in there for 3 or 4 years already. So I guess 8 years is right. So in Iran, you get 8 years. There's a $50,000 fine on another border, but there's a $5,000 fine for Americans crossing the Canadian border. What's nicer than the Canadian border? I mean, if you've got to cross a border, if you have your choice between North Korea, Afghanistan, or Iran, I'd take Canada every single time. Do we agree? Right? Do we agree? So there's a $5,000 fine. The Canadians are smart, $5,000. That sounds like good. That's like a trip. So we shouldn't even mention that one because that's not, Of course, if you don't have it, that's a lot of money, right? If you cross the United States border, so remember, the other ones, you get shot, you get this, you get imprisoned for many, many years, you destroy your life. If you cross the United States border illegally, you get a job, You get a driver's license. You know that's true. You get food stamps. You get a place to live. You get health care, housing, child benefits, and in many cases, education. You wonder why we're a debtor nation. You wonder why our country's going to hell. You look at that. And those are real statistics. I mean, that's what happens. In Los Angeles, 50% of the people wanting to get licensed right now are illegals. In California, they have a town council where everybody's suing everybody because they have a group of illegals that want to take over the town council. They want to run the town. They're illegals. They're illegal immigrants. And they want to run the town. So we have some serious problems. And I haven't read that yet. I haven't done that. But I just saw that today, and I said, you know, I put it out a long time ago. And it holds very true. We have a situation that's sort of interesting because we've been talking about illegal immigration. And I was happy to see, you know, when I was with Macy's for a long time, they were very nice, and I did very well with ties and shirts and fragrances and all that. And when I announced that I was running for president, I said, we have a problem with illegal immigration. And the world went crazy. And if I didn't announce that, and I think you know, if I didn't announce that, you wouldn't, I don't think it would even be talking about immigration. It's a huge problem. And thank you. Stand up. Stand up. We love you too. Even though you're a male, I still love you. Never been my thing, but I still love you. Stand up. Who said that so nicely? Very nice, man. Oh, I love them too. I love everybody. We got to love everyone. We're in this thing together, folks. We got to get out of it. We owe $19 trillion. We got to get out of it. But I announced illegal immigration, and it was, you know, I haven't given the full story, but I'll tell you, it's sort of interesting. So I'm in New Hampshire, and I'm making a speech, big speech in front of a lot of people. Hello up there. Wow, look at all those people up there. Wow. You know, we have another auditorium that's full, too. They didn't get the good real estate, so wherever you are, I'm going to come see you after I'm finished, but we think the world of you. You just didn't get the good real estate. These people have the good real estate. But, so Macy's, I sell shirts and ties, did nicely and all. Not a big business or anything, but cute, and I liked it. And fragrance and cufflinks. See these cufflinks from Macy's? Some people think it's Harry Winston or Tiffany. It's actually Macy's. And they're good, Trump cufflinks. And when I announced we have a problem, illegal immigration, tremendous problem, people pouring across the border, many, many great people, but some are really, you know, we got problems and tremendous crime. Thousands, tens of thousands of people in our prisons that we're taking care of and spending a lot of money. People in our hospitals, just flooding across. We have fantastic people at the Border Patrol. I was in Laredo, Texas, a couple of months ago, and it was amazing meeting these people. And they want to do their job, but they're told to stand down. They use that expression, stand down. So people walk in front. They're standing with, you know, with $50,000 worth of equipment, and they're just told to stand down. And the people lose respect for them. They walk by them and they wave at them and come into the country. We had the anchor baby situation, which I turned out to be right on, because I said, how could that be possible? Where people, a woman pregnant, 9 months, walks across, has the baby on our land. Now we take care of the baby for 95 years, 85 years, 75 years, whatever it may be. Baby's a citizen. I said, can't be. Nobody can do that. Now, in Mexico and these other countries, if that happened, you said you were a citizen, they'd laugh at you. They'd laugh. They'd say, this can't be possible. What are you, crazy? But with us, you're a citizen. So I said, that can't be possible. And everybody said I was wrong because they said, if you're born on this soil, you're immediately a citizen. And I said, I don't believe it. And we had a CNN reporter who, in New Hampshire, actually, where I was asked, he said to me, well, that's not a nice term. That's a derogatory term. I said, what is? Anchor baby. I said, what would you think I should call them? The child of an undocumented immigrant who came to the country 4 years ago, or whatever the number of years. I said, you mean every time I have to say the child of an undocumented immigrant who came to the country 4 years ago, 7 years ago, or whatever that happened, whatever the term. I said, no, thanks. I'll call it an anchor baby. It's descriptive. No, it's descriptive. No, it has to do with political correctness. I mean, just to get off track for a second, the word Christmas, you don't see it anymore. Do they see it in Iowa? Not that much, though. A lot of the stores, like I'm going to tell you about Macy's, but you go to Macy's, a lot of the stores, they say happy holidays, happy this. And I'll tell you one thing. So I'm Protestant, but if I win, you're going to see Merry Christmas. And you know what? We can have other things, too. But you're going to see Merry Christmas again, because I don't see it anymore. I don't see it. Remember, it used to be automatic, not politically correct or incorrect. It was just automatic. It was Christmas. It was called Merry Christmas. Then all of a sudden they started taking it off and off and off. And now they'll show like a red wall. That's Christmas. But they'll have nothing on it. So we're going to go back to Merry Christmas pretty soon. We're going to go back to Merry Christmas. So I was right on the anchor babies. And I was right because if a person comes in illegally, they're not coming in legally, has a baby. And everybody said, oh, you'll need a new constitutional amendment, which takes many, many years, and the chances of getting it are almost impossible. And now it finds out that some of the great legal scholars are actually writing major pieces saying Trump was right because of the fact, and there's language in the 14th Amendment, that because of the fact that they came in illegally, the baby was here illegally, you don't have to do it. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of events a year, tremendous amounts of money. But because of the fact this was illegal, you don't have to take it. All it needs is a simple act of Congress, which can be done quickly. And we should be doing it. And I'll be pushing that very hard. Believe me, I'll be pushing. We don't want to be a sucker. We want to take care. Hey, we all have a big heart. We all have a big heart. But we can't do the things that people wanted to do. We're destroying our country. And we can't do it anymore. And that'll end. That'll end. Like it is for every other country. I mean, almost nobody does it. We're the only ones that do it. And they come from all over. They come from Mexico. They come from Asia. Why not? Have the baby born over here. Come, let's take a vacation. Baby's born. Take care of the baby. Great. I mean, how stupid are we? I got a little lucky on that one. I really had no idea. It just didn't make sense. And then all of a sudden, these great geniuses from Harvard Law School, they were all saying, Mr. Trump is actually right. Now they're analyzing it. The bottom line is, I was right. Because it's common sense. Can't happen. Can you imagine going to Mexico, having a baby, and you say, congratulations, you're a citizen of Mexico? They wouldn't even know what you're talking about. They'd laugh you out of the country. A group of people was there last week, very successful people, and they overstayed their 2-week period. They get a knock on the door from the police in Mexico. Why are you here? And this is a very spoiled guy. He was a little embarrassed in front of his group. Some police officer said, why are you here? It's not exactly cool. Why are you here? Oh, well, we just want to stand next. Well, have you signed your papers? Have you made a request of the government? By the way, they're right. I'm not saying wrong. I think it's right. It's the way something's supposed to be run. It's right. The hardest place in the world, just about to become a citizen of, is Mexico. And yet people and I love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I have thousands of Mexicans. I have thousands and thousands of Hispanics that work for me or have worked for me. I've created tens of thousands of jobs. Tens of thousands. When I filed my papers, they were big. The biggest ever filed by a factor of many. I jokingly said to your newspaper that I have a store that's worth more money than Mitt Romney. Remember that? The famous article. They said, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, I have a store that's worth more than Mitt Romney. And the paper, your paper, went out and said, that's insulting, that's hard. And they checked and it was actually true. It was pretty cool. A lot more. Fifth Avenue real estate. It's amazing, right? But so we have a situation where we're going to take care of our country, where we're going to use common sense, and where we're going to be proud of ourselves again, because we're not proud of ourselves anymore. We're embarrassed. We don't win anymore. We can't beat ISIS. We can't beat Iran at a trade deal or at a nuclear deal. We can't beat China. China's killing us. We're losing $400 to $500 billion a year. Billion! When I saw the number, I said, "You mean million?" They said, no. By the way, 500 million is a lot, right? If we were losing 500 million, I could see that. It's 505 billion. I mean, it's impossible to even believe. How do you recover from things like that? You recover by getting smart people to make deals. That's what you do. The great Carl Icahn, who's a great businessman, most of you might have heard of him, but he's a very tremendous businessman. His whole life is business. That's what he does. It's business. It's like 24 hours a day, business. And he endorsed me. And he endorsed me because he understands me. He knows I do good. He knows I'm smart. I'm not going to let us be ripped off anymore. You know, when I go out to different places, and I go to a lot of different places, we have a level of passion that's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We go to Dallas, we have 20,000 people. We go to Oklahoma, we had 20,000 people. In Mobile, Alabama, we had 35,000 people. It's supposed to be 500 people. It turned out to be 35,000. We started with a hotel, then the convention center, but that only held 10. That only held 10,000. We ended up in a football stadium. And it was an unbelievable evening. We go to different places, like this place is packed right to the top. Every corner is packed. Yeah, no, it's packed. And you have the other room. And you have people standing outside trying to get in. But no matter where we go, it's the same thing. And, you know, I'd like to think it was because of me. I think it's because of a message. And the message in a certain way is, the message in a certain way is we're just not going to take it anymore. We're just not going to take it. We can't take this stuff anymore. I have a great company. I built a great company, which frankly, if I didn't, I guess I wouldn't be doing this, because it was why would we be following that, right? But I built a great company, some of the great assets of the world, some of the great real estate assets of the world, very little debt, tremendous cash flow, iconic assets, some of the, Doral in Miami, many buildings all over the place and all over the world. And I deal with people all over the world. And it's just sort of an amazing thing. I watch, and I love doing that. We bought Turnberry in Scotland and Doonbeg in Ireland and all of these incredible places. And I love doing it. But every time I turn on the news, I'd see such stupidity. I'd see Sergeant Bergdahl, a traitor, a no-good, dirty, rotten traitor. And we knew he was a traitor before we made the deal. They had a general and they had a colonel talking to all of the young people that were with him as soldiers. And what happened? 6 people went out looking for him. 6 people were killed. So 6 people were lost looking for him. And what happens now? In the old days, he would have been shot for being a traitor. He's going to get nothing. I heard the other day, I was watching, they've recommended no jail time, no nothing. I mean, seriously, in the old days, when you were a young guy, right, when I was there, they would have, it's gone. When we were strong and when we were smart. You're a traitor, you're shot. So he went out, he left, he deserted, he left, and they recommended nothing. But here's the thing. So we knew he was a traitor, and we made the deal anyway. I wouldn't have made the deal. I would have said, oh, he's a traitor? That's okay. They can have him for the rest of his life. No, I would have done it. I wouldn't even want him, Frankly, they're so brutal, that's not a good life. See, it turned out to be a little tougher than he thought. He thought he'd go over there, hey, babe, how you doing? How you guys doing? Boom, boom, boom. They beat the crap out of him, which is fine. That's fine. I'm happy about that. I don't think he's going there for a vacation. You know, he thought he was going to go and say hello to the enemy and talk to the enemy. But what happens is he came out, and now what we did, knowing he was a traitor, we gave them, I call Obama the 5-for-1 president, we gave them 5 of the best killers that they most desperately wanted, and they wanted them for 9 years. We gave them 5 people that are right now back on the battlefield doing all sorts of damage, wanting to kill everybody, including you. And that's our deal. I call them 5-for-1. And the one's no good. Frankly, I'd take the one, drop him right back where the hell he came from. You know, you want to know the truth. I really would. I look at the Iran deal, and I see Secretary Kerry, who's not a negotiator. He did not read The Art of the Deal. By the way, has anybody gotten my new book? Huh? Do you like it? Bring me that sucker. Bring me that sucker. It's doing great, by the way. If it wasn't doing great, I wouldn't mention it. Crippled America. Isn't that sad? And I saw the term. I'm reading something, and I see somebody was talking about how badly we're doing. And they said in some article, crippled America. I said, whoa, that's a rough term. Crippled America, right? By the way, have you read it yet? Huh? Did you love it? It's doing, it's amazing, but I don't believe in being a critic. I hate critics. You know, these guys, they criticize, but they've never been able to do anything themselves. Like a theater critic, a movie critic, any kind of a critic, a political critic. How about these political critics? Are they the worst of all? They're up here. They're all over the place. Look at them. A guy like a Karl Rove, what a dope this is. This guy spends, no, think of it. This dope spends $435 million last cycle. Didn't win one race. And I saw a couple of the ads. They were so bad that I thought they were made by the Democrats. I said, it's a great ad. Who did that ad? I might use that person. They were made by him. $435 million. Now, I wonder how much of that he gets. You know, you hear about the money. But I wonder how much of that he gets. Because a lot of these fundraisers, you know, it's a scam. This whole thing with the PACs, super PACs, is a scam. And they control every person except me. No, it's true. And I don't know, frankly. Well, let me sign this book for this guy. He's been standing for 20 minutes. Terrible picture. You know what happened? Simon & Schuster, who's like the Harvard of book companies, they wanted to do this book so badly. And they sent this fantastic photographer. He took the best pictures of me I've ever had in my life. I said, am I really that handsome? I was smiling. I looked happy. I looked great. But the book, the subject matter isn't so great because, you know, we don't have exactly like we're beating Japan. We're beating India. We're beating anybody. We're not beating anybody. We don't win. We never win. We never win. We make equipment. We give it to our so-called allies who we don't even know who the hell they are. One shot's fired. They all run, and ISIS takes our beautiful brand new Humvees, armor-plated. And our kids, it's true, and our kids are riding around in crap, and they have brand new armor-plated stuff. 2,300 Humvees sent over. A couple of shots are fired in the air. These guys run like a bunch of thieves, which they are. Our allies, our allies. And ISIS picks up the weapons, the Humvees, the this. It's just incredible. Whatever happened to General George Patton? Whatever happened to MacArthur? No, whatever happened to these guys? We have those guys. You know, we have guys we have incredible guys. West Point. I went to school near West Point. These guys are tremendous guys. We have them. We got rid of one of our best generals because he used foul language. I want a guy that uses foul language. So I had a picture taken, and the picture is horrible. And I said, that's the one we have to use. Because this picture, I didn't know they were taking it, and I have no smile. I'm just sitting there, and it's mean. But we have to be mean now. We can't be, right? Terrible picture. He said, no more Mr. Nice Guy. This is a... Friends called up and said, that's the worst picture I've ever seen. I had all these beautiful smiling pictures. You know, how can you say crippled America with a picture? Right? Here you go, baby. I love you. Thank you. So we have to find ourselves, and I will find it, because that's what I do. I find great people. You know, deals, I've been a great deal guy. And deals are only, when you think of it, they're only people. It's about people. All deals are about people. And that's what I like. That's what I love doing. I mean, I've always been treated nicely by the financial press because it's a little bit simpler. But the political press is brutal, you know, no matter what. I had a thing the other night. They did polls, you know, the 7 polls. Drudge was fantastic. Drudge is great. You guys all know that. Time magazine, I was on the cover recently, but I have no power over Time. And they had all these polls, Slate, like 6 or 7 of them. And I won every poll. And then you turn on, Trump was okay. Debate. Trump was okay. I said, what do you mean okay? I won every poll. 40, 50, 60,000 votes cast for each one. I won them all. And then I turn on the television. How did Trump do? Oh, he's okay. He was very low key. He was very low key. I don't know. I say, low key. I'm screaming at Kasich. Right? I'm telling Carly, whatever the hell her name is, Fiorina, I'm saying, will you stop cutting in? No, everybody that talks, she cuts in, cuts in. You know, I'm raising my hand. I'm trying to be a gentleman. And they're giving me questions. And I thought the moderators did an excellent job, by the way. They really did. I think they did. I think they did all 3. I think they did a fantastic job. It was an elegant debate. I said it. It was an elegant debate. But if these guys are cutting in, Kasich, oh, I have a headache from this guy. In fact, I actually said, let Jeb Bush talk. It's true. And Jeb didn't know whether to thank me or not. He goes, thank you, he wasn't sure. But I was being serious. Let him talk. Kasich, guy's bugging. Oh, he's terrible. And he had a bad debate because he looked angry. And angry's okay in the right place. But you had people that I didn't think did very well. But it's amazing because, you know, you see the people that are legit and the people that are honest, and then you hear them talking. And political commentary is very, very dishonest. And you have some bad ones. George Will is a bad one. Bad guy. He's a bad guy. Krauthammer is getting a little bit better toward me. A little bit. Oh, you know, a little bit better. But O'Reilly's tough, but he's good, right? He's good. I think he's good. Some of these guys, I mean, they have some guys, Stephen Hayes. If I were Abraham Lincoln, who's a great orator, actually, they say. Who the hell knows? I mean, I didn't get to watch him. But Abraham Lincoln. If I were Abraham Lincoln and I gave the greatest remarks you've ever heard, how about the Gettysburg Address? You know, I'll do something like that. No good. It wouldn't be good. No, not good. Didn't do a good job. Oh, good. If my name was Trump. If my name was Honest Abe, it's the greatest thing he's ever heard. So, you know, you have that. I actually saw it with a friend of mine. A guy was leaving. I won't mention names. But he's a bad guy. But he's somebody that I like, okay? And he was going to critique one of the candidates on television. And he had to be there in 2 hours. So he's leaving my office. I said, where are you going now? I'm going to critique a candidate. Oh, good. Good. Well, good luck. Oh, no. I know what I'm going to say. I said, well, wait, but the candidate hasn't spoken yet. It was a big speech for this particular candidate, who's a sad figure. He said, no, I know what I'm going to say. I said, the person hasn't spoken. Doesn't matter. I hate the person. I'm going to say stiff, horrible, bad speech. I said, supposing it's a good speech, doesn't matter. I'm going to say bad. And I said to myself, that's what actually happens. The media is very dishonest. Unbelievably dishonest. Unbelievably. They're bad. They're bad people. Now, you have some good, and you have, you know, obviously, you have some good ones. And I've met some really good people, media people, in the politician business, in the political business. But But you have some unbelievable scum. You really do. God, they are just absolute bad people. And they're so totally dishonest. And this case of this guy leaving my office telling me that he's already written his remarks about this event that hasn't even taken place. And they were horrible. And then I see him later, 2 hours later on television. The speech was horrible. It was stiff. The guy actually did a good job. And I'm hearing what a disaster he was. It's no different. It's no different. And it's very unfair. And it really forces a lot of good people out. You know, people have told me, and I've always heard this, when you're a very successful person, successful even, but if you're really successful, I've always heard from the time I'm a little boy, you cannot run for president. You can't. I never understood. I said, I wonder why that is. But I do understand that. You know, I've done hundreds and hundreds of deals. They never talk about any of the good ones. When you do hundreds of deals, hundreds of transactions, and, you know, obviously most of them are good because I'm worth like many, many billions of dollars. They're good deals. And the only reason I say that is because if they're not, then I shouldn't be the one negotiating with China. And believe me, I will be good. I'm going to be good. But I get a call from this sleazebag reporter a couple of weeks ago. Oh, we're doing a story on this. 4 deals. Now, they happen to be 4 not good deals, but I made money on all of them. You know why I made money? Because you see a really good guy when you can make money on bad things. Markets change. Lots of things happen. So I said, Mr. Trump, we're doing a story on Bing, Bing, Bong, and Dat. I said, well, what about the good deals? No, we've decided we don't want to do. Oh, you only want to do, so you're going to take a tiny little percentage, you're going to do a story. And I said, you know, I made money on all those deals. And it was bad, a lot of bad things. Markets were terrible. Markets crashed. Not my fault. Markets crashed. But I always blame, you know, it's my fault. It's always our fault if we're involved. But I said, you know, I took those deals and I made them really good, and in one case, great. Better than if the market stayed good. Actually better. Does that make sense? I made it better. Called the bank. I did a number on the bank. I'm very proud of myself. I did a lot of, you know, these bankers are not the nicest people in the world. Just don't feel bad. Somebody said, well, you hurt the bank. I said, the bank is vicious. It's headed by one of the most vicious people on Wall Street. Who cares? And that's the way I feel. So they'll do a story, or they did a story. I don't know. I don't even read this stuff anymore. I get so much publicity, I don't even read it. It just morphs. It's like a big morph. But so dishonest. I say, will you do a story about the good deals, which are by the hundreds? No, we're not interested in that. Oh, that's fair. That's nice. You're not interested. So we have a lot of issues. And I tell people, because it's important for the people to know, I talk about the press all the time. I do 2 things. I talk about ratings because I find ratings interesting. They said the other day, why are you always talking about ratings? You're always talking about ratings. Isn't it terrible? Nobody else does. I said, that's because I'm in first place. It's true. It's true. I mean, it's incredible. You know, the other day, you saw, probably most of you saw the debate where they put Trump number 1 and Carson number 2. I'm number 1, he's number 2. It's okay. And you have number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and you have the guys in the end who, you know, hopefully they get out pretty soon. By the way, that's the other thing. Why are they staying? Why do these people stay? George Pataki, he's got nothing. He was a terrible governor of New York. He couldn't have been elected dog catcher. He decided not. He couldn't have been. If he ran for dog catcher, he wouldn't have. And he's running for president again and again. Then he didn't even make the child stage 2 days ago. And I hear he's still not quitting. He's got 0 chance. And I know him. He was terrible. And you have others. I don't want to insult them. Is it okay if I don't insult them? Lindsey Graham. No. No, Lindsey Graham, he's a senator from South Carolina. He is. Yeah, he talks like a tough guy. You know, the tough guys don't talk like tough guys. You need smarts. The tough guys. A lot of the times, the tough guys, they're the weak ones. But he talks about, we'll go into Syria, and will this, and will that. And we don't want Russia dropping bombs on ISIS. We want to do it ourselves. Oh, great. Right. Genius. He's a genius. Then they say, oh, Lindsey Graham, he knows so much about the military. Look where we are, folks. This is the Lindsey Graham. We lost with Iraq. We lost with Libya. We lost with everything. Where do we have a victory? He's tough. This is the one. He gave me his phone number because he wanted me to make a campaign contribution years ago. And I made the speech. I said, I wonder if this number still works, right? Because he started knocking me. He was perfectly nice. And all of a sudden he realized he was going nowhere. He was in the doghouse in the polls. And all of a sudden I was a bad guy. So I said, let's call him, folks. And they started calling. It was actually quite funny. But he was up on the stage the other day talking about being a tough guy. He's tough, so tough. We'll end up in World War III over Syria. I'm tougher than all of them, believe me. And if we're going to fight, we're going to fight. But it's going to be something important. We're going to end up... We've been in the Middle East for so many years, the longest wars. Afghanistan now is our longest war. And by the way, Afghanistan, of all of them, is probably the place we should have been, maybe in the first place, because you're right next to Pakistan. Pakistan has nuclear weapons, not a good thing. You know that I all said we should never go to Iraq, and I said that in 2003, 2004. I wrote a book, The America We Deserve, where I said in 2000, before the World Trade Center came down, where I said there's a guy named Osama bin Laden in my book, and we better watch him. And I saw him a couple of times on television, and a friend of mine who's in the military told me, bad guy. And they said, bad guy. And I'm writing this book, and I said, there's a guy, Osama bin Laden, and we better do something about him because he's going to go under Iraq, and this is what I said in the book. And 3 years later, the World Trade Center came down with him. And I'll never forget, 2 weeks ago, I'm watching Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe, good show. I don't know if anybody knows, but it's a good show, right? And somebody's saying, you know, Trump actually, and they had the book, they said Trump actually predicted Osama bin Laden would come in and do something very bad, World Trade Center. And he said, yeah, but when did he write it? And they looked, they said 2000. Whoa! He goes, that was before, that's unbelievable. He said that before, he's the only one that predicted it. And I wasn't even in government. And I predicted. Now, who knew this was going to happen? But I would have taken that guy out just based on his threats. We got to know where to fight and when to fight. You know, we have stupid people. We have very, very stupid people running our country. Very, very stupid people. And they say Lindsey Graham, the same old stuff, McCain and this one, that one. These guys have been fighting for 20 years. We got nothing. We've got nothing. In Iraq, we spent $2 trillion. Could have rebuilt our country. We spent $2 trillion. We lost thousands of incredible soldiers. We have wounded warrior soldiers all over the place. No arms, no legs. These are the greatest. I love them. They're the greatest. They're much more brave than I am. These are the greatest. The way they live their life. No, they're incredible. I see them working out. They're working out. They're really badly injured, but they're working out. I wouldn't be working out. I'd probably be watching television. Who the hell knows? These people are amazing. So, $2 trillion, right? Thousands of deaths, wounded warriors, all over. We have nothing. Iran is taking over Iraq, second largest oil reserves in the world. Iran is taking over Iraq. So, when it happened with Iraq, I said you shouldn't go in. And a delegation came to see me from the White House because I get, for whatever reason, without PR people, without anything, I don't do it on purpose, for whatever reason, I get a disproportionate amount of publicity. Do you agree? Do you guys agree? Look at these guys. They're still standing. Will you sit down? You people are great. Sit down. Look at him. You must like me to be standing. Look how handsome. He's better looking than his father, much, right? But, so what happens is you look at Iraq, And I said, don't do it. And a delegation comes to see me from the White House that they'd like to, have me cool. I say, but you're making a mistake. You're going to destabilize the whole Middle East. Because you had Iran and Iraq that always fight, right? Years I read about wars. Iran goes 10 feet this way, then 10 feet. They were the same. They were like twins, same strength. Then Saddam Hussein would use gas, and they'd use gas, and we'd read about it. I said, yeah, but if you do that, you're going to destabilize because you're going to knock the hell out of one, and the other one's going to come in and take it over. It's pretty simple. I mean, you don't have to be a total genius to figure this out, even though I am a genius, okay? So you're going to, right? So they go in, they knock it out. I was very vocal about it. I said, you're making a mistake. And by the way, I'm more militaristic than anybody in this room, just so you understand. I'm going to make our military so strong, so powerful. I'm going to take care of our vets like nobody's ever taken care of our vets. Our vets are being treated horribly. And by that, I mean the wounded warriors also. They're being treated so badly. Our wounded warriors are being treated badly. Our vets, that whole group of people is being treated. I mean, the illegal immigrants are being treated better than our vets in many cases. And that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. So I said, you're making a mistake. Don't do it. They did it. Okay. So now they're in. I'm building buildings. Okay. I'm building buildings. What do I have to do with this? I hated it. Then I saw what happened. Then it turned out there were no weapons of mass destruction. And you know why we thought there were? Because, first of all, we had faulty intelligence because we didn't do that right either. But we thought there were because Saddam Hussein used to say that in order to scare Iran. Makes sense, right? My theory. This is the Trump theory on war. But I'm good at war. I've had a lot of wars of my own. I'm really good at war. I love war in a certain way, but only when we win. We never win. By the way, when was the last time we won a war? We don't win anymore. Our wars are always politically correct. We don't want to win. We don't want to this. So anyway, so we go in, and we have this horrible situation with Iraq, and now it's a total mess. All right, so now we have our president come in. Our great unifier, President Obama. He's going to unify our country, right? Except he turned out to be the great divider. Did you ever see anybody so divisive as this? Did you ever see anybody so divisive? I figured the one thing about him, in all fairness to McCain, it would have been impossible. The place was not doing so well, and he shouldn't have won. Romney should have won. Something happened to Romney. He choked. I always said, he choked. For a month and a half before the election, you didn't even see him. Say what you want about Obama. He was on Jay Leno. He was on David Letterman. He was all over the place. And I said to these people, I was backing Romney. I said, when are you going to go on television? He wouldn't do Hannity. And Hannity's he's a friendly guy. Do Hannity. Sean, he's on your side, I think. I know. Do O'Reilly. Do Greta. Do people. Please go and tell. Well, I don't think we need it. I think we have it in the bag. I said, I don't think so. I'm really good at this stuff. I don't think you have it in the bag. But you know what? Even if you do, pretend you don't, because you work harder. Then he announces he's building a 12-car garage in Malibu, California. So remember that fiasco? This is not what people, and the horses, his wife has horses. Anyway, he loses. We should have won. That was one we should have won. We had a failing president. We had a bad economy. Everything was good for us, and he lost. And that's a shame. So you have Obama go in, and Obama makes the announcement that we're leaving Iraq on a certain time. Now, I said, just from a common stance, and I will tell you, the polls have come out on, and I love this stuff. They come out on leadership. I was number one by, like, everything. Many times. I mean, many times. I don't mean I was up 2 points. I mean, many times. On military, I was up. On terrorism, I was up. Can you believe it? Way up. By many times. By times. Not like 3-9. Like, I don't know. CNZ, you're over there. It's like 38 to a few points. And then, for the economy, it was like beyond belief. The only thing I don't do so well is not everybody loves me. I don't know. And I'm actually a nice person. You know? No, it's true. I mean, my weakness is that people don't know if I'm a nice person. Who the hell cares? We got to straighten out our country. I mean, you can put Jeb in there. You can put this lightweight Marco Rubio in there. Put him in there. He's a lightweight. It's not going to happen. If you do that, it's not going to happen, folks. You're just kidding yourselves. You're just kidding yourselves. We got to bring our country back. We need somebody that can do it strong. A woman came up to me. A woman came up to me and said, Mr. Trump, I'm voting for you. You're strong. You're the one I want. But do you think you're nice enough to be president? She said that. I said, you know what? Honestly, ma'am, I don't think this time it's going to matter about niceness. I think it's going to be like I really am competent. I think it's all about competence. It's about leadership. I mean, when I lead by leadership by many times, economy by many times, in the military I lead. And people see that in my book. I said Osama bin Laden. They see that. The president didn't know about Osama bin Laden, but I do, and I'm building buildings in Manhattan. Why do I know about him and military doesn't? And I wrote him in the book. You have to see it. People have gone out to buy that book because nobody believes it. Osama bin Laden, mentioned in the book. I think it's like 2 years before the World Trade Center came down. And I said, this time it's about something special. It's about competence. We got to bring our country back. With all of that debt, with all of the problems, with people wanting to decimate Social Security that people have been paying into for years, and now they want to raise the age, they want to cut the benefit, they want to do everything. With Obamacare, which I will repeal and replace quickly. Believe me. Believe me. Believe me. And what people don't know is that Obamacare is phenomenal for the insurance companies. They're making a fortune with it. And you know, the states, like Iowa, if I want to have an insurance company in Iowa negotiate on my stuff in Manhattan, in New York, they have artificial lines around every state where people here can't negotiate. They can't come in. Those guys can't come into Iowa and negotiate. So I get these guys, they walk in, how we doing, folks? Well, very few bidders. They got a monopoly. And they're smart. They'd rather have a monopoly here, a monopoly in New York, a monopoly in California, than have to compete all over the country where they have a chance at 50 states plus, right? Because it's what they're making a fortune. They were big contributors to Obama and his campaign. Now, think of this. We had a website that cost $5 billion and still doesn't work. But here's what's happening. In 17, they're going to have to renegotiate the whole Obamacare. You know, it's a disaster. I don't know. You don't hear about it so much because we have so many other problems. No, as a country. The Iran deal is such a disaster. It's all a disaster. We have nothing good happening. Nothing. That's why I call the book Crippled America. There's nothing good. There's nothing good happening. The only thing they point to is, well, we killed Osama bin Laden. Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you. You're the president. You're sitting there. These great guys that we have working between the Navy SEALs and the great people, they call up the president. They say, Mr. President, we have Osama bin Laden. He goes, oh, what should we do? Do you want us to get him, Mr. President, or not? Okay. Pretend anybody in the audience, anybody, including these folks, they're very nice. They don't sit down. They're still standing. They're all excited. I love them. Okay, pretend anybody in the audience is president, right? And these great guys come in. General, Mr. President, we have Osama bin Laden. So we have a choice. We can leave him alone, Mr. President, or we can go and either take him or bomb the hell out of him. Who's going to say leave him alone? Is there anybody that would say it? And that's the only thing they can point to. They say, and that was years ago. It's a long time ago. So he says, take him. And our SEALs did a great job. They did a great job. Brave guys. I met two of them. They're great guys. But who would say don't get him? Would anybody say that? I mean, you say go get him. And then they sit around waiting, and the answer is a good answer. And give him credit. I want to give him credit. But who would say, oh, you have Osama, let's not get him. Oh, great. I mean, there might be two people in the audience, but those are very weak characters. I'd like them to leave immediately, okay? Those are not my kind of people. So we don't have victories anymore. We just don't have them. So we're going to turn this thing, and we're going to make it so good. But we now need people that are great in office. I'm going to find a general who's so good, who's so mean and so smart. I don't want just mean. I want mean and smart. You know, I know a lot of tough guys, but they're stupid. We don't need tough, stupid people. Those are the worst, actually. The worst guys are the tough, stupid people and people. No, I need tough and mean and really, really smart, like General Douglas MacArthur. General MacArthur was the #1 student in the history of West Point, had the highest grades in the history of West Point. And he was a great general. And he had the image. He'd get off the thing, you know, the plane with the corncob pipe and the hat. He loved it. But now we have television people. They always go on television, our generals. I talk about this all the time because I can't believe it. Why is a general on television? Because he's giving signals to the enemy. We have a certain general on television about 2 months ago, and he's talking about how ill-prepared we are. That we've never been so ill-prepared. And the announcer asks, you know, it's a show. And I'm saying to myself, I don't want him. I don't want him talking. Don't say it. Don't talk. Can you imagine the great General Patton sitting on a television talk show? General, these guys are spinning in his grave. So I watch this guy talking. How do you think we could do about ISIS? Can we win? I don't know. They're very tough. They're very tough. They're elusive. I don't know what we do. I say, oh, God. No wonder they're so emboldened. No wonder they feel so. You know, it's like I've heard different accounts from 40 to 60,000 people. Good fighters, ISIS. Good fighters. Smart. Good. And I said, they asked me, so I'm running for president. I'm leading in almost all the polls. And they asked me a question about ISIS. And I say to the announcer, I don't really want to answer it. And the next day, these idiots over here say, Trump doesn't know the answer. The reason I don't want to answer is because I don't want to tell the enemy if I win. I don't want to have to. Does that make sense? I don't want to tell them. So, 2 weeks go by, and I get the question again. How would you fight ISIS, Mr. Trump, if you're president? I said, do I have to answer it? Do I have to? They said, Mr. Trump, we really think it's appropriate. And I did too, because I was getting killed in the press saying I know more about ISIS than the generals do, believe me. I said, all right, so here's what I do. I hated to do it. Oh, I hated to do it. Because I think I'm going to win. And I don't want these guys. No, I don't want these guys. Because my life has been about victories, in all fairness, okay? It's been about victories. I've had a lot of victories. I'm not like a person that enjoys. You know, you have a lot of people that like to lose, you know. They like to lose. They feel comfortable losing. That's not me. I don't feel too good when I lose. But I said, I don't want to really tell you. But then I realized I had to, because I was getting killed by these people. They said, Trump doesn't have a plan for ISIS. I said, no, I have a plan, but I don't want to tell ISIS what it is. Because I might win. I had to. I said to my wife, I said, you know, I got to tell them about this plan. I'm going to have no choice. Because otherwise I'm not going to win. People are thinking like I don't have a plan. I hate doing it. So I'm on one of the shows, and I said, look, ISIS is making a tremendous amount of money because they have certain oil camps, right? They have certain areas of oil that they took away. They have some in Syria, some in Iraq. I would bomb the shit out of them. I would just bomb those suckers. And that's right. I'd blow up the pipes. I'd blow up the refinery. I'd blow up every single inch. There would be nothing left. And you know what? You'll get Exxon to come in there in 2 months. You ever see these guys, how good they are, the great oil companies? They'll rebuild that sucker brand new. It'll be beautiful. And I'd ring it, and I'd take the oil. And I said, I'll take the oil. ISIS is making millions of dollars a week. Millions of dollars with oil. Now, they're also getting money from Saudi Arabia. Can you believe it? They're getting money from other people. They're getting money through the various banking systems in the Middle East, which are very complex systems. I study banking systems. I mean, who's taken advantage of banks more than I have? I'm a professional. Nobody. I love banks. They're the greatest. But you know what? ISIS is making a fortune on the oil. So I said, oh, and I hated to do it. I actually did it low-key because I just hated to do it. Does that make sense to anybody here? I hated to do it. And I said, that's what I do. I'd bomb the hell out of them. I'd then get Exxon, or I'd bid it out. I'd bid it out. You get this one, you get this one, you get this one. They'll rebuild it so fast. They're incredible what they can do. It really is amazing. And it'll be brand new, beautiful, and I'd ring it. The soldiers wouldn't be in danger. I'd ring it. I want to protect it. And we'll take the oil forever. When we left Iraq, I said, take the oil. Everyone said, oh, that's terrible. That's a sovereign country. They're a bunch of thieves, these guys. They were taking millions and millions in cash and putting it in their pockets. We were delivering satchels of cash there in Afghanistan. It's out of control. They deceived us because they didn't take care of the Kurds. They didn't take care of the whole thing. ISIS formed because these people were not allowed to partake in God. That's where ISIS came from. It came out of Iraq. And ISIS turned out to be a hell of a lot tougher than the guys running Iraq. But this is where it all started. What we have created is unbelievable. So now you have Obama, and he's in. And I don't blame him for that, but I blame him for the way he got out. Because he said, we are leaving on a certain date. Do you remember when he announced the date? And everyone said, oh, the enemy's not as strong as they were, in the meantime. The enemy's not as strong as they once were. They're strong. They said, why the hell should we fight? You may think that they want to go to wherever they go. They really don't, if they can avoid it. So they pull back. They say, this schmuck is going to leave on a certain date. What do we have to kill ourselves for? So what happens is we leave and they go in and do all the damage that they're doing. You saw what happened today. Massive bombs all over the place in Iraq. You saw that, right? I see everybody shaking their head. Terrible. It's a carnage. But Obama said, we are leaving on X date. Gave the date. Now I'm sitting there and I say, what? That's stupid to do because the enemy's going to pull back, wait for the date, we'll leave, and they'll go do whatever. And this is what happened. And that's why Iraq is negotiating with Iran, and that's why Iraq is negotiating with Russia now. Because we pulled out. Now, I didn't want to go in, but we should have left our 20,000 soldiers there. Because we could have stopped a lot of the stuff that's happening now. And then you have Libya under the great Hillary Clinton. I mean, she's the worst Secretary of State. Probably Kerry might go down as worst because, honestly, Kerry made the Iran deal. He may be the best thing that ever happened to Hillary. He made the most incompetent deal I've ever seen. But Hillary, think of Hillary. Every single thing that she touched turned to garbage. The entire Middle East in her reign and the reign of Barack Obama went to hell. Libya, look at Benghazi, an offshoot. But Libya, and now what we're doing is people are saying, and again, remember, very militaristic guy, very militaristic. But you have people, and you have Assad, and then you have the rebels. How many times have we been backing rebels to find out that they're always worse than the guy that's in there? Right? All the time. So now we have the rebels. We're giving them hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff. Russia, because he has no respect for, Putin has no respect for Obama. I don't know if you saw him the other night on 60 Minutes with me. We were stablemates, right? He was on, I was on, same time. We got very good ratings that night. I'm taking credit for the ratings. But on 60 Minutes, it was great. But he has no respect for Obama, so he starts bombing, to which I say, that's not so bad. Now, they just blew up his airplane. I assume that was probably a bomb. ISIS actually took credit for it. I think they probably did because they found a timer in it today. Did you know that? They find a timer for the bomb today. That's usually an indication that there was a bomb, right? They have a timer. And they announced a long time ago, a while ago, that they blew it up. So he can't be a friend of ISIS. This was a Russian plane. They can't be a friend of ISIS. So if Putin wants to bomb, I say, go ahead. Go ahead. Bomb. And we can bomb too. We got to stop ISIS for a different reason. We can't allow people to cut off people's heads. We can't do it. No, we got to beat them so badly. Because we can. If Russia wants to bomb, I say that's great. And we don't want to get stuck in a quagmire in Syria. You know, we're in a quagmire. We were in a quagmire in Afghanistan and are. We're in a quagmire like you never saw in Iraq, but now we're out. But essentially what we did is all those lives, all that money, all that everything, just so horrible. But it was a quagmire. Would everyone agree? You know, just a total quagmire. And now we have another potential quagmire. And Putin likes Assad, and Assad's a bad guy. But the rebels might be worse. In fact, a lot of people think that the rebels that we're backing is ISIS. And people are saying they're ISIS. So I come out and I say, listen, why are we giving all of this equipment to these people that we don't know who they are? I spoke to a general 2 weeks ago. He's a great guy, very familiar with the situation. I said, what do you think of the rebels? He said, Mr. Trump, we really don't know who they are, sir. I said, oh, that's great. Now I feel better. Now I feel better. What the hell are we doing? We have to rebuild our country. We have to put money into our country. Our bridges are falling down. 60% of our bridges are in danger. I mean, they're in danger. They're in bad shape. Our roadways, our highways, our schools. In Afghanistan, we build a school, they blow it up. We build it again, they blow it up. We build it again. So far, they haven't blown it up, but it's going to blow up. But we can't build a school in Iowa. We can't build a school in Brooklyn, New York. We can't build a school in New Hampshire. We can't take care of our vets. We can't have hospitals for our vets. We don't have any money to do anything for ourselves. At what point do we get smart? And I say by us building up the military, somebody said, oh, you're going to spend a lot of money on military. I said, yeah, I'm going to spend money. That's the greatest investment we can make because the world wants to kill us. And if we go strong, really strong, nobody's going to mess with us, folks. It's going to be cheap. It's so cheap. It's going to be so inexpensive to build up our military compared to where they think we're weak. We've got to be so strong. And I mean, I say it all the time. We've got to be so strong, so powerful, so advanced because we have the right equipment. We have the great stuff. We have the great stuff. We're selling it to people and sometimes the wrong people. Sometimes we're giving it away and we're giving it away to, but we have the brain power. We have the great people and we have the great stuff. But we've got to be so strong and so advanced that nobody plays with. It's so important. It's so cheap. You know, somebody said, oh, you're going to spend. No. I'm going to spend here, but we're not going to have wars because nobody's going to touch, especially with me because I'm so unpredictable. I'm so unpredictable. Like, I didn't like the way, I don't like the way Obama treats Putin. Obama's trying to act like a tough guy, and he's showing how tough he is, okay? Tough guy. Draw a line in the sand. When you draw a line in the sand, you can't, you got to do something, right? Didn't do. First time I've seen that. Here's a line in the sand. That's like the bully, draws a line in the sand, then walks away from the fight. But that's okay. That's okay. But we have to have somebody, and the word predictable is a very important word. I'll give you an example. A week ago, President Obama announced very proudly that we're sending 50 of our finest military to Syria. And I said, why is he announcing that? Why is he saying that? These 50 young men and, as I understand it, a few women, rough stuff. Rough stuff. Why is he saying that they're going there? Why does he have to make that announcement? To sound like a tough guy? First of all, 50 sounds ridiculous. Okay? Sort of like if you're going to do it, do it. Or if you're not going to do it, don't do it. But he's sending 50. These 50 people are now targeted like you never would believe. This enemy is not a stupid enemy. Remember Obama said they're the JV? They're not the JV. They turned out not to be the JV. I want to make them the JV. I want to make them less than the JV. But they're getting stronger and stronger. And every time they have a mental and moral victory, they become, they're better at the internet than our people are. And it's our baby. They're recruiting people from our country to go over and fight. And then we take them back. We take them back. Because the Democrats and the Republicans, I'm more disappointed in the Republicans than the Democrats. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative guy. We take them back. We let them come back into the country. Automatically, you cut them off. You can't come back ever. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I've watched stupidity at a level that I've never seen before. It's only going to get worse. I know Hillary. I'm from New York. I've always been friendly. I get along with everybody. I was criticized. You're friendly with Hillary. You're friendly with this one. Yeah, I'm friendly with everybody. One of the magazines recently, very nice, said I'm a world-class businessman. It's true. I built a great company. I got to get along with everybody. If I need permits here, if I need permits there, if I need a recommendation from a Democrat to another country, I can get anything. I can get anything. I know the system better than anybody. They said, you're not that political, are you? I'm more political than all these politicians. My whole life has been politics. Now, I've been on the other side where I've been a giver. I was the fair-haired boy. I gave a lot of money. I gave $350,000 to the Republican Governors Association. Total waste of money. Total. No, I gave a lot of money. And I didn't get a letter of thank you. I didn't get a letter of, I'll tell you the story sometime, but I didn't get a letter of thank you. But I'm a very political person. We have to be smart. We have to be sharp. When you have a president, he's got to be unpredictable. You can't have a president you can't have a president that makes an announcement that we're sending 50 wonderful young people over to fight. And these people are waiting for him over there now. They didn't know they were coming. They didn't know they were coming. And now they're watching and looking, and they want to take them out. And they might be successful in taking them out. We can't have that. We need really, really, really tough, smart people, or we're not going to have a country left. So, just a couple of more things. Border is very important. Israel is very important. Israel has been treated so badly by Obama. It's beyond belief. I have so many Jewish friends and they're really good friends and great people, and they supported Obama, and it's almost like automatic. It's like, oh, we're having a fundraiser. He's been a horror. He's one of the worst things that's ever happened to Israel. President Obama is one of the worst things. I mean, that Iran deal. Bibi Netanyahu is a good guy. I actually did commercials for his re-election, if you can believe it. I'm one of the only celebrities. He wanted me to do a commercial. I did a commercial. He won, so I'm happy, okay? But he's a good guy, and he's devastated over it, because that deal is going to lead to nuclear proliferation. And he made a terrorist nation rich. Gives $150 billion. And they can self-inspect. Forget about the 24 days. How about the self-inspections, where they are going to do their own inspections and report back? And these are evil people. And these are people that truly hate us. You see with the flags, the American flags, they're being burned all over the place. They're rejoicing. If I make it a deal, and if I go out to lunch, and I see the people on the other side saying how stupid I am, he's so stupid, this guy, what a stupid deal he's making. I've been reading for 9 months what a stupid, and these guys keep chugging along. Okay, we'll give you that. No, we want this point. No, we'd rather not give you that. We want it. Okay. This is Kerry. Kerry said, it's very important for us to get this point. No, but it's very, very important. No. Okay, we'll take it. This is our negotiator. We could have doubled up the sanctions, tripled up the sanctions. They would have called up and begged for a deal. We could have said the following 3 years ago. Can you believe how long this deal has taken? Somebody said to me the other day, one of the big magazines, how long should the Iran deal have taken? A day? I said, but maybe a week if things are bad, because you know right away. But think of it. You should have gone and said, before we start, we want our prisoners back. There's 4 of them. We want our prisoners. Before we start, not now. I met the wife of the pastor. She's so lovely. She's devastated. She doesn't know the husband's been there now, what, 4 years? A Christian. He's there because he's a Christian. So I would have said, look, and by the way, this is not 25% or 75%. This is 100% I get him back. I'll do this for myself. It's so easy. I would have gone and have said, we got to get our prisoners back. You don't want them. You don't need them. Your people don't even know you have them. Very important for us. And you'll make a better deal if you give them back because there'll be goodwill. It's goodwill, right? You got to give them back. They would probably say, no, we cannot do that. We can't. I said, bye-bye. Bye. I leave. It's over. Double up the sanctions. They'll call within 2 days. Please come back. We would like to start the negotiation. I said, where are our prisoners? Here they are. I'll guarantee you one thing. If I win, those prisoners will be back before I take office. That I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you. They will have hell to pay. I guarantee you those 4 prisoners will be back before I take office. Guaranteed. It is so disgusting. Now they say the other day that now the deal is done. They're getting all of this money. Now they want to negotiate for the prisoners. Okay, you heard this. They don't want to give us 4 back. They're only going to give us 3, but they want 19 in return. And the guy goes, and many other things. And I just want to turn off the television or throw something at the television because I get so angry when I see it. We want many other things. And you would have had them for the deal. First of all, I would have never given them back the 150 anyway. I mean, the only thing that I would say could have made it a little more complicated and might have taken an extra week or 2. I would have never given them back the money. I would have said, the money is off the table. Let's start negotiating. And you know what? I would have won that negotiation. With the 150, it's a no-brainer. We never even asked for the prisoner because they said it was going to make it too complicated. Never even asked for him. But the money, I would have never given back, which makes it tougher. Would have taken me an extra week or 2, probably. Okay? But we've got to be smart and we've got to be tough. So, we have candidates running. You have Hillary, who's a disaster, but let's not worry about her. We got to get there first, okay? First, you got to beat these other guys, okay? So forget about Hillary. Hillary's got so many problems, and she's being protected by government, totally protected. I think she'll probably be allowed to run because what she did is so much worse than what General Petraeus did. It's so much worse than what other people did. And General Petraeus' life was destroyed. Destroyed. You know, he got a sentence that he didn't have to serve. I mean, they gave him a sentence. He destroyed his life. Nice guy, but they destroyed his life. Other people, for doing a tiny fraction of what she did. So they're protecting her. So I believe she'll be the candidate. She'll run. Don't forget there's a statute of limitations on that whole thing. But she's going to run. She's going to be the candidate. And she's going to lose. She's going to lose, I'm telling you. She's going to lose. Because people are sick and tired of watching what's going on. They're sick and tired with her whole big attitude. And she's playing the woman card up. That's all she has. Honestly, outside of the woman's card, she's got nothing going. Believe me. She's playing the woman's card, big league. And I know so many women, they said, I wouldn't vote for her. If you gave me $1 million, I wouldn't vote for her. So I'm running against these other people. Nice people. I'll discuss a couple of them. Should I or should I not? You won't get angry at me if I talk about somebody that you like? If you do, that's okay, too. I don't care. Well, we'll start with Rubio. I mentioned before. Nice person. Weak on illegal immigration. You know that. Weak. Rubio. Ready? Weak on illegal immigration. Like a baby. Like a baby. Not a good poker player, because every time he's under pressure, he starts to just profusely sweat. If he was playing poker with me, I'd say, oh, I know what. The water would start pouring off his body. I'd say, ah. Oh, boy, he'd have a hard time. We need a poker player, a great one, okay? We need a great one. So, very weak on immigration, a member of the Gang of Five. You know what the Gang of Eight was? The Gang of Five was the weak gang. The Gang of Eight became much stronger on illegals coming in. So he's a member of the Gang of Eight, and the Gang of Eight wants people to just pour into the country. So he was very proud of that. He thought it was great. And then his poll numbers went down in the toilet. And all of a sudden, he wasn't a member of the Gang of Eight. Because, you know, say what you want about some people. They come up with something, they know it's not politically popular. I do that. And if you don't want it, that's okay. I'll go off to the sunset. I'll build my buildings. I'll kick the bucket. That'll be the end of it, and I'm fine. Really, that's the way it is. But I got to do what's right. That's why I'm tougher on illegal immigration than anybody. That's what I'm saying. We have to take people that are here illegally, and we have to move them out. And you know what? It's going to be done. It's going to be done. It's going to work. And now even the other candidates are saying, you know, I think he's right. They don't know. We have to do it. Illegal immigration is costing us $250 to $300 million a year. And they're here illegally. The word is illegal. One of the reporters said today, but you're talking about removing the illegal immigrants. Well, they're here illegally. They're taking our jobs. You know, we actually have 100 million people that are in a, you know, they want to work. They can't work. If you're looking for a job and you give up after a number of months and you go, you know, you just can't get one, they consider you employed. That number, 5.2%, is such a phony number. The real number is probably 25%, probably 30 or 35%. Because, you know, I said it today, if that number were correct, I wouldn't have 20,000 people in Dallas. I wouldn't have 35,000 people in Mobile, Alabama. I wouldn't have 20,000 people in wherever I go. In Oklahoma, I had 20,000. I wouldn't have these crowds. I have crowds of anybody. If that number were correct, this room wouldn't be packed with an auditorium outside that's also packed. Wouldn't be packed. We're in trouble. We probably have a 25% unemployment rate. So we need somebody that's going to produce jobs. Illegal immigration is terrible. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be so big, so strong, so powerful. No truck is going to ride over it in a ramp. And it's going to be done for the right price. And by the way, I say it all the time. And I mean it. That's what I do. Mexico is going to pay for the wall. I'm not going to pay for it. We're not paying for the wall, folks. Mark my words, we're not paying for the wall. Now, these politicians, honestly, I don't want to say it about everybody. Most of them are lightweights. They don't know how to negotiate. They don't know the first thing. I talked about corporate inversion. They didn't know what the hell I was talking about. That's where a company leaves this country because they can't get their money and also because taxes, and they take all the jobs. They don't take the jobs. They drop the jobs. Many, many companies are leaving the United States. They used to leave New York for Florida. They used to leave here. Well, actually, here they left for Mexico, okay? I mean, you lost a lot of companies that went to Mexico from Iowa, okay? You know the story on 60 Minutes, that great place, right? You know the name of the place I'm talking about in Iowa? Great place, where their companies went down to Mexico, and we're going to have actually a news conference in a couple of weeks with those folks. But so much trouble. It's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen anymore. China's not going to take our jobs anymore. And I'm a free trader. Somebody said to me today, the Wall Street Journal is, these people don't know what they're doing. They don't know what. Hey, think of the Wall Street Journal. They bought it for $5 billion a number of years ago. Now it's worth $500 million. And then they tell us what to do. It's worth $4.5 billion less than what they paid, and now they're telling us what to do. They wrote an editorial about me today that was totally false. On TPP, they said Trump said during the debate that China was part of the trade pact. Well, I didn't say that. I said China's going to come in through the back door. After everything's done, China's coming in through it. And I've been saying this thing for a year in many speeches. And they said Trump didn't know I knew better than them. I'm the one that told them it was 6,000, almost 6,000 pages. And nobody reads it. Except for the other sides in the other countries. They've read it. But it's a terrible deal. So we need smart people. Now, Rubio, bad on immigration, bad on a lot of things. I'm not going to say too young because who knows? I think I could have done a good job when I was his age. So I'm not going to say too young. A lot of people say, oh, I think he's too young. I don't know that he's too young. He will not be an inspiring president. And he's not tough enough to be a president. He's not tough enough. And I will not call him a lightweight because I think that's a derogatory term. So I will not call him a lightweight. Is that okay with you people? I refuse to say that he's a lightweight. Okay. Now, Bush, I said he was a low-energy individual. And it killed his campaign. Who ever heard of that? People said, you know, he's right. But we don't have to talk about Bush because it looks like he's out, right? We only want to talk about the ones that... Cruz, it's hard for me to say anything bad about Cruz because he says such good things about me. He's always saying I'm amazing. So I'll save that for when he gets nasty because, I mean, at some point he's going to have to get nasty, right? But he's been very nice to me. No, he's been nice, and I've been nice to him, and I like him. But he's been nice. But, you know, at some point he won't be probably. Because, you know, if it's down to the two of us, he's not going to be nice. I understand that. So then we can do what I like to do best. Okay? But right now we'll leave him alone. Now, Carson's an enigma to me. I didn't say it. Carson's an enigma. He wrote a book. And he's doing great in Iowa. He's second in the polls. With all these professional politicians, I'm first, Carson's second. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Because he wrote a book, and in the book he said terrible things about himself. He said that he's pathological and that he's got basically pathological disease. Now, he wrote this, I guess, before he was running for office or thought that he was running for office. And I don't want a person that's got pathological disease. I don't want it. Now, I'm not saying he's got it. He said it. This isn't something that I'm saying, oh, he's a pathological liar or he's got I'm not saying it. He said he's got pathological disease. He actually said pathological temper, and then he defined it as disease. So he said he has pathological disease. Now, if you're pathological, there's no cure for that, folks. Okay? There's no cure for that. And I did one of the shows today. And I don't want to say what I said, but I'll tell you anyway. I said that if you're a child molester, a sick puppy, you're a child molester, there's no cure for that. There's only one cure. We don't want to talk about that cure. That's the ultimate cure. No, there's two. There's death and the other thing. But if you're a child molester, there's no cure. They can't stop you. Pathological, there's no cure. Now, he said he was pathological. Okay. He said he went after his mother with a hammer. He wanted to hit her on the head. Or he hit her on the head, or he wanted to hit her on the head. And I said, wow, that's tough. Man, did anybody in this audience ever go after your mother to hit her on the head with a hammer? Okay? So he went after his mother. This is in his book. This isn't me. I'm just trying to save you the cost of a book. So he's a pathological, damaged, temper, a problem. Then they talk about my tone is a little bit tough. Give me a break. Bush, I don't like his tone. We have people, their heads are being cut off in Syria if they're Christian and for a lot of other reasons. And he doesn't like my tone. That's a problem with this country. We need somebody with tone. We need somebody with tone. You can go back to the other guys later, but let's straighten it out, okay? We'll go back to the guys with the nice, easy tone like Bush and like Rubio and like these characters. But you need somebody with tone. Hillary said the same thing. I didn't like the way Mr. Trump spoke last night. His tone wasn't nice. Let's not worry about it, folks. Let me straighten it out. Then I'll promise I'll leave you alone, and you can go back and blow it all for the next 20 years, and you'll get somebody else like me up there, and they'll straighten it out again. But go back to Carson. So he went after his mother. Think of this. He went after his mother with a hammer at a fairly young age, 14, 15 years old. I didn't. Okay. He hits a friend of his in the face with a padlock. Like a master's padlock. Whah! In the face with a padlock. A lot of damage. Okay. I never did that. I mean, I misbehaved. I spoke during class. They said, don't you dare talk. Yes, sir. Yes. But no padlocks in the face to friends. Then here's the beauty of all. He took a knife and he went after a friend and he lunged that knife into the stomach of his friends. But lo and behold, it hit the belt. It hit the belt. And the knife broke. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. The knife broke. Let me tell you, I'm pretty good at this stuff. So, I have a belt. Somebody hits me with a belt. It's going in because the belt moves this way. It moves this way. It moves that way. He hit the belt buckle. Anybody have a knife? You want to try it on me? Believe me, it ain't going to work. You're going to be successful. But he took the knife, he went like this, and he plunged it into the belt. And amazingly, the belt stayed totally flat. And the knife broke. How stupid are the people of Iowa? How stupid are the people of the country to believe this crap? So here's the good news. He's now saying all of that stuff happened because otherwise he's a liar. And I said, no, wait a minute. It should be the other way. It didn't happen. The press made it up. Those guys, they made it up. No. It happened. How dare the press not believe me that I went after my mother with a hammer, that I hit somebody in the face with a padlock, that I tried to stab a friend of mine whose name was Bob, but now it's changed. Whose name was Bob. He was a friend, but now he's a member of my family. Who I have a brother. Don't speak to him. I don't want you to talk to my brother. So he's trying to convince everybody that these things happened. Again, I'm a religious person. I'm going to protect people. I'm going to bring back people. Because say what you want about Christianity. As a group, we haven't done a good job in protecting our religion. We really haven't. We've let government take it away. We've let government take it away. Pastor Jeffers, who's a real nice guy. You know Pastor Jeffers. He's on television the other night, and they're asking him about Trump. He says, yes, he's a Christian, and he's a good guy. He's not your typical Christian. But, you know, sometimes we sort of do a little sacrifice because he's an unbelievable leader, and he's really smart, and he's going to protect us. And maybe that's better than having a perfect Christian that doesn't have leadership ability, which is, you know, going to happen, that doesn't have certain other qualities. Because we need somebody that's going to be a leader and protect us now. I'm going to protect everybody because I know how to do it. And I'm a worker. I know how to do it. I really know how to do it. So here's the thing. So Carson, oh, the knife broke. There it is. It's laying in the, oh, good. So what he's saying is that these series of events, and he goes into the bathroom for a couple of hours, and he comes out, and now he's religious. And the people of Iowa believe him. Give me a break. Give me a break. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. And some people might not like it. Oh, that's not really nice what you say. Don't be fools. Don't be fools. Okay? Now they're saying it wasn't him. Now, I don't know, maybe this was a false report, but it wasn't him that hit with a hammer. It was his mother came at him all of a sudden. Don't forget, the name changes. Everything changed. And I don't care. I may leave here and you may say, oh, that was not nice what he said. Who cares? Then, I go back to my life. I don't have to do interviews, which I don't like doing, to be honest with you. I can leave this scum back here at the press alone. I don't need them anymore. They're garbage. No, they're scum. I don't have to deal with them anymore. But here's the guy who's saying, think of it. You got to think of it. How crazy it is. He's demanding that it's right that he went after the mother and wanted to hit her over the head with a hammer. And these other events and the knife. Because if he didn't, he won't have credibility. And I said, well, wait a minute. I put out a tweet the other day. At Real Donald Trump. Very hot. Millions of people. But I put out a tweet. I said, if I were him, I'd rather have it the other way. Where he didn't go after. Right? Where he didn't. So, I say, what the hell have we come to? What have we come to? When we have to believe this kind of stuff, and we're going to put somebody in office who considers himself to have pathological disease. Read the definition in the dictionary of pathological disease. And I'm not saying it. He said it about himself before he knew he was going to run for office. And then he's controlled by a super PAC in Iowa. And the head guy at the super PAC, I hear, left. And nobody writes about it. I mean, the truth is, he's complaining about the press not treating him well. Okay? Let me tell you something. If I did the stuff that he said he did, I wouldn't be here right now. It would have been over. It would have been over. Okay? It would have been totally over. So, that's who is in second place. And I don't get it. I don't get it. On top of which, he's never had an employee. I put thousands of jobs, many, thousands, tens of thousands of jobs over my career. Tens of thousands of people working. I know jobs. I say, I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I will. And I'll tell you another thing. I believe two other things that people are going to be surprised at. I believe I'll be the best at the military that we've had in many years in this country. I really think I'll be better at the military than at the jobs. And I will be a great unifier. People say, oh, well, you're very polarizing. I'm not polarizing. When we start winning, this country's going to come together. This country's totally polarized right now. You look at what's going on with colleges, you look at what's going on in Baltimore and saying, look, this country is a mess. We're totally polarized right now. This country needs a cheerleader. We need somebody that can promote our country as being great again. We need it, and we need it badly, and we need it fast because we're going in the wrong direction. So I only tell you this. I love Iowa. I've been here so many times now. I think I'm going to buy a farm and maybe just move here. I like it. But, no, I might. I love it. I love it. But I can only promise you this, that if I win and if I become your president, all right, well, you know, that always happens. They always say, when, but I got to say if. Look, I'm running against a lot of people. And I'll say when just to make you happy, when. But the truth is it has to be if. It has to be. You know, look, there's always, who knows what happens. But if and when I win, I will make our country so great, so strong, so wonderful. People from the Democrat side, people from the Republican side, from the conservative side, from the liberal side, they'll be happy. They're going to be brought together. Because we'll have money to save Social Security. We'll have money to save Medicare. Carson wants to get rid of Medicare. He wanted to abolish Medicare. I said, that's the end of his campaign. Medicare actually works, other than the fraud and the abuse. I mean, we have to stop the fraud, abuse, etc., but Medicare actually works, right? I mean, do we agree? He wants to end Medicare. And you can't end Medicare. So when I win, you will be so proud of your country. And you're going to remember this night. This is a special night. This is funny. This is a night I've really enjoyed being with you. It's sad in many ways because we're talking about so many negative topics. But in certain ways, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Because we're going to turn this country around and we're going to make it not great. We're going to make it greater than it's ever been before. We can do that, okay? We can do that. We're going to make it greater than it's ever been before. And I love you all, and I thank you very much. And we will be back. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great people. Thank you, everybody. We will make America great again.